Welcome to Cake Gist. So today we're doing the simplest sugar sheet technique that I've ever seen. So we're going to be using 200 grams of castor sugar, 60 mils of corn syrup, 1 teaspoon of tylose powder, and we're going to be adding black gel food coloring. So in my bowl, I have measured out 200 grams of castor sugar, and it's fine, super fine sugar. You can also use granulated sugar if you don't have castor sugar. So I've never used granulated sugar before, but this one works really, really well. So that's our corn syrup in my little ramekin. I'll be using the Caro brand today. And the first time I used it, it really turned out well. So I've got 60 mils of my corn syrup in there. So which we're going to color that corn syrup and add it to sugar. That is tylose powder. And tylose powder, we need 1 teaspoon of that. And then we are using our food coloring. I'm going to be using color splash today, and it is in black. So remember, tylose is also called CMC. So I'm going to be adding the tylose or CMC into my sugar. I'm going to be measuring out 1 teaspoon of this powder. And remember, it's a level teaspoon, not a hipful. So it's a level teaspoon of the powder, and we're going to be putting that in our sugar. So we will mix that thoroughly until the CMC or the tylose powder is evenly distributed. You know that tylose powder can clump up when it comes in contact with something wet. So as much as possible, you want your tylose powder to incorporate into your sugar as much as possible, and just make sure that everything is evenly distributed. So you mix very, very well. And it's looking good now. I think this is the point where we have to prepare our corn syrup. This is a very simple method. As you can see, don't need anything too fancy. So at this point, I'll be adding my gel coloring into the corn syrup. And with this kind of gel colorings, you don't need a lot. So I'm just going to be putting some in there. I'm not measuring it. I'm just, yeah, just looking at the color, how the color is going to change. So we're going to go ahead and mix that thoroughly and make sure that we don't have clumps of food coloring hiding there. Um, we don't want to do anything. We don't want to do a project that is going to look half done. At the end of the day, we never know. This is a new method that I'm using, that I'm doing. So this sugar sheet is something you have tried. So I've never tried anything, maybe marble effect or something. Maybe that will work. Maybe we can try a marble effect one day and see if that's going to work. Like, you don't mix the coloring thoroughly and you just let it, you know, you put it in your corn syrup and just see how it works. Maybe that will also look nice. We never know. Or maybe we can add another color of sugar sheet and do like a marble effect on the color on the sugar sheet. I'll try that one day, just as an experiment, and see how it's going to turn out. So at this point, I'm switching to my spatula to scrape off everything in the bowl in my ramekin to go inside my sugar and tylose. So, like I said, this is the simplest method I've ever seen. It doesn't require you to cook anything on the stove or for you to put it in the oven. So the first time I did it, and it turned out really well. I left it for like maybe 2 days before I used it. I think I was a bit scared that it was going to break, but it wasn't. It didn't break at all. And I think the time I used it, it was a bit warm. It was very humid and warm. The weather was very was hot that day, so I felt, well, leave it longer and see how it will turn out. But it turned out really nice and it dried out really nicely. I think the CMC makes a huge difference. So I've seen a lot of recipes without the CMC, and I've never tried it without CMC. So I'll say I'm going to stick in with this method. Thank you. So at this point, we're mixing the syrup, the corn syrup, to the sugar. And as you can see, as I'm mixing, I'm pressing down, pressing down. I'm pressing down because I want to make sure that the sugar becomes compact eventually. We want the syrup to incorporate into the sugar, and it can, so that it will become a clump. So I'm going to be switching to my hands, my fingers later on, to make sure that I achieve this. It's still, you can still see the white part of the sugar grains in there, and we don't want that. We want everything to be together in one. So it's like a sugar dough, but not really dough because it's not stretchy. So this is where I have put on my gloves, and I am pressing together to make sure that the sugar and the syrup incorporates properly. So we do this for a while. Don't rush it. Make sure that everything is mixed. Now this is how it looks like. I told my son, I said, I rolled into a sausage. He said, this is not a sausage. I don't want to tell you what he thought it was, but you could imagine, how kids are. So right now I am going to roll this piece out. I want it to be a long strip of sugar sheet, and as much as possible I'm going to try, because I'm going covering an 8-inch cake, I'm going to try to elongate this mixture to a stage where I know that it will go almost round an 8-inch cake. Remember, you can double your recipe, and you can add more. For example, if you want to cover an 8-inch cake, this one did completely cover. It did not completely cover an 8-inch cake, but thinking forward in retrospect, I could have added maybe 100 grams of sugar to it, so we will have 300 grams, and have half a teaspoon of tylose, um, and we will add in um, more corn syrup. I can't think now. So at this point, I'm just trying to make one of the sides straight, because that is the side that is going to sit on the board. So I am preparing a crack that appeared in the middle of that strip, which was I was a bit frustrated at first. I felt like, oh no, 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 but not to worry. Um, you know, it's good because it's not yet dry and you can actually repair it easily. And see, if you look closely, you can see where that crack is. So I was able to take the ones I cut off from the bottom and put it on there and press down. At this point, I'm adding another sheet of parchment paper on top. This is going to make it easy for me to roll. I don't want it to stick to my rolling pin as much as possible. I'm trying to make this project look very simple, and so you don't have to start buying stuff. A lot of these projects, sugar sheet projects, requires you to use a silicone mat. I actually did mine the first time with parchment paper, and I discovered actually you do not need a silicone mat to do it. And so with the parchment paper, I can reuse it later on. And when you baking cakes, you can use it to line your cake boards. You can use them for other projects also, as long as you know that you don't have that is tidy and is clean. So that way I know that I am not going to be doing any washing up afterwards, except maybe I'm going to be washing up my rolling pin. So, but with the silicone mat, you have to do some washing, you know. So, at the end of the day, we want a method that is very effective and works really well. So once we have our strip, we will paint the jagged edge. We'll paint it gold, and after painting it gold, we will leave it to dry for 24 hours. I tried mine for 24 hours, and I painted the tip gold, and I sprayed some gold glitter, just a little bit of gold glitter to just make it pop. Um, and I left it to dry. So the next day, I had my freshly covered buttercream, and I used that to wrap it around my cake, and it turned out really nice. So this cake is like a drip effect cake, just half done. And so the points where the sugar sheet did not meet, I was able to put the drip there, and it looks really, really nice and cute, and looks very trendy. So this is a new, fairly new technique that people are using now, and I hope you really like it. Remember to subscribe to my channel. I'll try and make sure I put on more projects onto my channel so you can see some of my wonderful works. Um, this is a lovely, lovely cake that I just love so much. I just fell in love with it when I finished it. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye. Subscribe.